नमस्कार दर्शक मित्रों, फिर से एक बार और वही हमारे जाने पहचाने निष्णात, मैं दावे के साथ कह सकता हूँ कि मणिपुर को जितना करीब से भट्टाचार्य जी जानते हैं, गुजरात के जर्नलिस्ट मित्रों में और कोई नहीं जानता। तो फिर एक बार मणिपुर की मुलाकात लेंगे। मणिपुर हमने चर्चा किया, उसके और आज के बीच में काफी बदल चुका है। उस समय इंडिया नहीं था, आज इंडिया है। उस समय सुनने को कोई तैयार नहीं था। आज इंडिया के सांसद मणिपुर में जाके वहां के राज्यपाल को मिलके अपने कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशन लेके आए। तीसरी बात, तब कुकीज द्वारा अलग देश की मान्यता के लिए कोई मांग नहीं थी, अब वो उभर रही है। चौथी बात, टू सम एक्सटेंट सरकार कुछ बात करने के मोड में है। छोटी चर्चा बड़ी चर्चा की हम चिंता में नहीं पड़ते, मगर चर्चा करने के मोड में। अब छोटी चर्चा क्या होती है, उसके डेफिनेशन क्या होता है। चर्चा का मतलब चर्चा ही होती है, और जितना इश्यू बढ़ा उतनी चर्चा बड़ी होनी चाहिए। तो ये कुछ इसमें वहां गड़बड़े हुई है। वो जघन्य कृत्य हुआ था जो, उसके भी प्रत्याघात पड़े हैं। हालांकि मैं मानता हूँ कि इस तरह के कृत्य के जिस तरह से प्रत्याघात पड़ने चाहिए नहीं पड़े, शायद हम बिन संवेदनशील होते जा रहे हैं। और इसी वजह से हर चीज की तरह इसे भी हमने, जैसे महंगाई को नजरअंदाज करते हैं, जैसे शॉर्टेजेस को नजरअंदाज करते हैं, इस चीज को भी नजरअंदाज हमने कर लिया है। तो ये हमारी खुद की चमड़ी जरा थोड़ी अच्छी खासी मोटी हो गई है, उसका उदाहरण। पहले चमड़ी की थिकनेस शायद माइक्रोमीटर में नापी जाती थी, फिर मिलीमीटर हुई होगी, फिर सेंटीमीटर हुई होगी, अब मीटर में नापी जा सके। इस तरह की चमड़ी हम लोग धारण करके देहधारी लोग घूमते रहते हैं। और आप एक बात फिर आश्वस्त रहिए कि ये मुद्दा जो है, जो इम्पोर्टेंट है, मेरे ख्याल से कि मुद्दा नहीं मरा है, मुद्दा जिंदा है और मुद्दा जिंदा रहेगा। क्योंकि पूरा जो इसका व्यवहार है वो चला गया है मणिपुर की जो लोग एजुटेशन कर रहे हैं उनके पास। अब वो न तो सरकार के पास रहा है, राज्य सरकार के पास रहा है, न कोई और चीज है। तो इस परिस्थिति में भट्टाचार्य बाबू से समझना चाहिए आज की जो जो परिस्थिति है, ऑन ग्राउंड क्या परिस्थिति है। क्या कोई आप इसको मानोगे, कुछ नई आशा पैदा हुई है? ये जैसे कानून की बात हुई, इंडिया को रिकॉग्नाइज करने की बात हुई, प्रतिनिधित्व को भेजने की बात हुई, क्या आप मानते हो कि परिस्थिति सुधार पे जा रही है?
नमस्कार। देखिए, जिस रास्ते से मणिपुर चल पड़ा है, अब मुझे ये नहीं, सुधार मुझे नहीं दिख रहा है। क्योंकि हाल ही में एक तो इंडिया विजिट के डेलीगेशंस वहां पे जाके आए, खैर वो एक अलग राजनीति था, लेकिन साथ ही साथ हमने मोरे टाउन को जलते हुए देखा। साथ ही साथ हमने इम्फल में जो रैली हुई मैतेज की वो देखा, और वहां पे जो स्लोगन्स आए वो बड़े दिलचस्प है। I'll just read out some of them to you. All cookies must be killed. Kill the cookies until they are wiped out. cookies cannot stay in Manipur. ये वो रैली के स्लोगन है जो रैली ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया था बाय द Meiteis against the arrest of the sexual offenders. जो लोग वो 2 औरतों को निर्वस्त्र करके गैंग रेप किए, पैरेड करवाए, उन लोगों को जब सरकार ने अरेस्ट किया तो इसके बाद मैती ने जो रैली निकाली उसमें ये स्लोगन्स आए। जाहिर सी बात है कि अगर ये एक तरफ होता है तो दूसरी तरफ की जो डर, घृणा, गुस्सा वो भी हार्डन होगा। नाउ ये भी खबर है कि there is a singer who has been booked for writing genocidal songs against cookies.
Again? Genocidal songs against?
A genocidal song कि cookies को मार डालो, खत्म कर डालो, kind of a thing. तो जब इनको पूछा गया कि आपने ये क्यों लिखा तो he said we are in a state of war. So what do you expect me to write? Now that is very, very significant because the state has plummeted into a state of war. और इसको संभालना will need a lot of delicate handling, जो मुझे फिलहाल तो दिख नहीं रहा है। दूसरी बात यह है कि हाल ही में मिजोरम के चीफ मिनिस्टर जोरामथांगा ने सेपरेट कुकीलैंड की बात की, जो ग्रुप का जो डिमांड है उसको सपोर्ट किए उन्होंने। तुरंत बीरेंद्र सिंह की बयान आया और ये बयानबाजी बहुत ही निचली स्तर की हुई है। मामला ये राज्य भी बनता जा रहा है। तो मुझे मणिपुर शांत होगा इससे ज्यादा चिंता अब ये लग रहा है कि आग कहीं और ना फैले।
तो ये जो आप बात कर रहे हैं शांति वार्ता और शांति बहाल हो ऐसी कुछ प्रयत्न वगैरह की, इसके सामने ये सब जो चीजें चल रही है, क्या आपको लगता है कि इसमें कोई स्पेसिफिक फॉरेन एजेंसी या फॉरेन पावर का हाथ है, या फिर अपनी खुद की जो इस पूरे मामले को हैंडल करने में क्षमता चाहिए, वो क्षमता में ही कहीं ना कहीं बड़ा सा छेद पड़ा हुआ है?
देखिए, अगर हम इस इलाके को देखें तो ये इट इज अ वेरी वेरी ओपन बॉर्डर विथ म्यांमार। तो जो जिन विदेशी शक्तियों की बात आप कर रहे हैं, अगर उनको यहाँ पे खेलना है तो वो खेल सकते हैं। ये पहली चीज है। दूसरी चीज ये है कि हमें मोर देन looking at the manifestation of the problem, I think we need to understand the problem itself. जो मैं बार बार कहता आया हूं या कि ये समस्या को हमें और भी सीरियसली समझना पड़ेगा और इसके अंदर तक उतरना पड़ेगा। देखिए, म्यांमार जो है, म्यांमार के 4 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है जो इंडिया के साथ सटे हुए हैं। काचिन, सागांग, चीन और रखाइन। नाउ चीन और सागांग, चीन मणिपुर से सटा हुआ है और सागांग नागालैंड की तरफ जाता है। अब जो जोमी ग्रुप जो है, जो कुकी ये ग्रुप है, That's a conglomeration of several other sub-tribes. And they they have a dream called Zalem-gong, जो नागास के नागालिम है कि सारे नागा बस्ती वाले इलाके को एक फ्लैग के नीचे लाया जाए, एक सॉवरेन स्टेट की जो ड्रीम है. Similarly, in Kuki dialect, the Zalem-gong means the land of freedom. That entails parts of Myanmar, parts of India, and Chittagong tract of Bangladesh. तो हाल की ये मुद्दे जो है, इसने फिर से उसी ड्रीम को रिजरेक्ट कर दिया है. एक हुआ है. दूसरी चीज ये है कि हालांकि हिंदुस्तान में हम कुकीज को थोड़ा बहुत शांत देख रहे थे, in spite of the fact that they have more than 10 active terror outfits operating. Disturbing news is coming from Bangladesh. आज ही के Daily Star has reported that Chittagong tract में they are training terrorists from Jamatul Ansar fi Hind al-Sharqiya, which is Al-Qaeda affiliations के latest outfit है, उसके लोगों को चिटागंग ट्रैक में ट्रेन कर रहे हैं. Now this news is coming from Bangladesh. अगर आप उनके बांग्लादेश के पेजेस देखें तो वो खुलेआम सरकार को धमकियां दे रहे हैं कि भाई आप पहाड़ियों में मत आइए, अगर आप आएंगे तो वापस नहीं जाएंगे. एंड दे हैव किल्ड द डिफेंस पर्सनल्स देयर. वायलेंस हैज हैपेंड. दूसरी चीज ये हुआ है कि म्यांमार से जो खबरें हैं, म्यांमार से ये आया था दैट द Zumi group had joined hands with the junta. June 22, Irrawaddy Times had reported that the Zumi groups were basically hitting on the resistance forces. तो चीन province में ये काफी हुआ है. So now it is time that they are also hitting back. So this entire belt is restive, and this community is looking for its stable, peaceful homeland. जो कि आज की जो वर्तमान जियोपॉलिटिकल स्थिति में वो संभव तो नहीं दिख रहा है. बिकॉज मणिपुर में जो स्टैंड्स आज जो दोनों कम्युनिटी के जो स्टैंड्स है, उसमें कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज करने के लिए एट दिस मोमेंट तैयार तो नहीं है. The Meiteis have made it very clear that they will not accept any kind of division of the state. And the Kukis have also hardened their stand that they wouldn't settle for anything other than a bifurcation of the state. So ऐसे स्थिति में शांति थोड़ी सी दूरस्थी दिख रहा है.
थोड़ी सी का मतलब क्या है?
Well, I was being charitable, क्योंकि शांति फिलहाल तो मुझे काफी दूर तक नजर नहीं आ रही है. We are probably back.
किस तरह के पॉसिबिलिटीज आप देख रहे हैं इसमें, जो परिस्थिति है?
देखिए, यहाँ पे अगर लार्ज स्केल वायलेंस थोड़ी देर के लिए रुक भी जाए, स्पोरेडिक वायलेंसेस होते रहेंगे. This is number one. Number two, with the kind of religious politics that is being played across the country and in Assam, that just might unify the other Christian tribes in the region. And if it does, then the entire region can go up in flames, unless we make sure that that doesn't happen.
No, our interest should be guarding our own territory and our own people.
Well, so far we have not really done too well in that on that front, have we?
You really feel so that we have left them to the mercy of the God.
देखिए, अब तक तो हमें कुछ और सोचने की मौका कोई वजह तो नहीं है, बिकॉज दिस we have used the communities to our political advantages every now and then. There were some revelation by a cookie terrorist leader sometimes back that one of the prominent politician had used him before the elections, right? ये सारी चीजें तो हुई है, लेकिन इसके बाद जो प्रोमिसेस किए गए वो रखे नहीं गए। ये पहली चीज है। दूसरी चीज ये है कि largely we have not done the exercise to understand that region and its complexities. अगर वो
How you have your paper. You also are a person who keep on meeting public personalities. What is in general? What is your probe into that? What do they think about it?
I'm afraid if you could repeat in the question, please.
I said that you keep on meeting a large cross section of the society. आप जर्नलिस्ट तो हो ही, जर्नलिस्ट लोगों को मिलते हो, अदर सेक्शंस ऑफ द सोसाइटी उनको मिलते हो, स्टूडेंट्स को मिलते हो, सब लोगों को आप मिलते रहते हो। और बात ऑब्वियसली आजकल यही हॉट है, तो इस पर ही बात होगी। कुछ लोग उसमें निकम्मे होते हैं जो मिलने से न मिलने से कोई फायदा नहीं होता मेरे दिल से, मगर बाकी के लोगों से तो आप कुछ निष्कर्ष निकालते होंगे। तो ये क्या होता है?
देखिए, हम बार बार उस इलाके के बात करते हैं तो टेररिज्म एंड टेरर आउटफिट्स कहते रहते हैं, बट वी ऑल्सो नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट guarding the village or the clan is a part of their lifestyle, is a part of their culture. And when I say guarding, it's not sloganeering or candlelight march, but fairly violently. So once we accept that, then we need to look at the threat perceptions that they face, and have we done much to assure them, secure them? We haven't really done much on that front. और कहीं ना कहीं देखिए, ये जो समस्या है या फिर नागालैंड की जो समस्या है, these are not exactly something that India produced itself, but it inherited. But sadly, in so many years, we have done precious little to actually address them, other than trying to tire them out. And that has not worked. So far, that has not worked.
But then understand one thing, that there is one side which is busy with their preoccupancy, the other side which is as dumb and naive as ever about the situation which is gathering storm. Then what will happen? Who will bring them to a table? और जब तक वो एक साथ नहीं बैठते, चर्चा नहीं करते, तब तक तो यही चलता रहेगा।
I would certainly hope that there is some effort being made to bring them to table, but as of now, कुछ कहीं पे कुछ तो दिख नहीं रहा है. Now, I am as blind as anybody else sitting at the other corner of the country.
Yes.
So, and whatever little sources that I have not so far indicated that any actual serious effort is being made.
No, not at all.
Bring the
Not at
parties
all.
to.
In fact, if you take a blind poll then they may not find even much difference some at times between Maninagar and Manipur.
I would
So,
completely agree to that. I'd completely agree to
there
that.
is absolutely no concern because they don't have to bear the brunt of the things they are happening.
And that opens us up to a very, very serious security threat. Very, very
Yes,
serious security threat. Because the homeland that the Zomikuki group dreaming of would start from the China border in the north and would go down up to the Bay of Bengal through Chittagong. This is number one. That is just one of the things. And if you look up their pages, they have these maps very, very openly displayed. That is just one of the possibilities. The immediate threat that I see is that this region would just become a safe haven for the rebels from Myanmar and from other parts, because as of now that is still happening, and we do hear talks of biometrics and all other or stemming the illegal immigrants, but that is not really happening. And हर बार आप बांग्लादेशियों के डर दिखा के सबको चुप करा देते हो, लेकिन यहाँ पे जब हो रहा था पिछले साल जब 30,000 जोमिको की लोग चीन से मिजोरम के अंदर आए, and when the government said that union government asked Zoramthanga to send them back, he just flatly refused and the government could do nothing about it. So in the process, is there any guarantee that this area wouldn't become India's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa?
again I'm telling you that this is not going to happen automatically. There has to be some mediator. There has to be something having credibility. There has to be somebody who is a force to reckon with. Then only these countries can come together and something sensible could be talked about. आज वो नहीं हो रहा है.
Well, it takes no rocket science to understand that we need, there has to be some mediator, some mediation, some back channel talks, some negotiation. It's obvious, but the fact remains that is that happening?
No, and
Because if at
I
the
also
end of the
agree.
day, if at the end of
I
the day,
also agree with you. I also agree with you that it is not a rocket science. But this is not yesterday's phenomenon. This is
this
going
is
on
not,
for
this
last
is not, this is not, this is
three,
not.
4 years. So, what have you done during that period?
This is not, and I think there has been a tremendous miscalculation on about the will of the people, because people obviously they have failed to read what was happening. I mean, KNF has been very, very active in Bangladesh for quite some time. The report of that from Yarabadi that I quoted is from last year.
Hmm.
Things have been happening. So it's not that something things were not in public domain. Things were absolutely in the public domain. I wouldn't even get into the intelligence domain. And all the we know and we talk about are the things that are in public domain, right? So this information was already available, but then one doesn't see much done on either of these fronts. We took no cognizance of it. And the result is that my sources from the ground tell me that there are areas in both Assam and Tripura where the demography is changing. And sadly, that those incidences which were caught on camera, the violation of women and all that, that has bolstered a narrative that has caught world's attention. And now we are busy salvaging our image rather than addressing the security concerns.
You
Because
look
it
at the
does
scenario. You look at the scenario. You did not have Khalistan problem a year back as much as it is in Punjab Haryana border areas. You did not have this uh, cookie problem as much as it is in Assam. You did not have problem regarding migrating people who are coming from other states as far as the Rajasthan peripheral area is concerned. You did not have the problem regarding Kisans and Jats. So, I mean, it is viewing a bead. So, why
well,
something?
I think, without being so negative about it, we should be congratulating the dispensation for being so productive. In a year's time, they have created so many problems. They have accelerated so many problems. Let's look at it this way, because I think that is the only way we can look at it and still survive. I mean, they have manufactured things. I think we should be congratulating the dispensation on this.
Two things I have not understood. One is what we have discussed so far. And second is their senior ministers making stupid comments. Smriti Irani in particular and few more in general.
I do not think in last 10 years anybody has ever credited this dispensation or its members with any kind of cerebral prowess. If you recollect, there was a covert operation in Myanmar where some of the rebels were killed by Indian army. Now this used to be a regular feature, but one of our minister, I think some Rathore, Rajyavardhan Rathore,
Ragyavardhan Rathore.
he shot off his mouth and congratulated. And after that, the junta had to come out open and, in the open and say that nothing of this sort happened, and they forbade Indian army entering their territory. Otherwise, this used to be a regular thing. So shooting off their mouth is one of their calibers. I mean, and well, we all know the kind of people we have there. So do we expect anything better?
I can understand. I can feel what you are saying, but unfortunate part of it, there is nothing whatsoever. You see as somebody mediating and some discussions taking place, and at least like Kashmir Hurriyat was discussing or somebody else is discussing.
No, because this is the kind of people we are promoting. I mean, f- 12 years back, 11 years back, also probably, I wouldn't have expected a priest getting onto a dais and making a communal comment about, a racial comment. Now, if you look at this, I mean, recently we had a very interesting kind of and this whole marketing of purity. So we had this fellow from ISKCON mocking the Bengalis openly, and that was very surprising that the organization that was founded by Bengalis, and he started mocking about it. Now, and these are the kind of people that this dispensation is promoting. So, on one hand, they talk of Akhand Bharat, but in the process that we see is all the elements that kind of
It is everything which is moving in the direction of breaking Bharat.
absolutely, absolutely, there is absolutely no two questions about it, because this kind of statements wouldn't have been tolerated otherwise, but now they are encouraged.
क्योंकि
Similarly, I
खुद
mean,
के पैरों में आया है जलता जलता.
absolutely. क्योंकि आज भी मणिपुर में इसलिए जो sentences आ रहे हैं which are very very painful, and these sentences, I mean, people are being able to say it because the state is backing them up. वरना आप सड़क में खड़े होके एक कम्युनिटी को पूरा खत्म करने की धमकी आप कैसे दे सकते हो अगर आपके पीछे सरकार खड़ी नहीं हो? They are doing it with impunity and they're getting away with
सड़क
it.
पे देखो, सड़क पे खड़े हो सकते हैं, सड़क के छोर पे खड़े हो सकते हैं, सड़क के कॉर्नर पे खड़े हो सकते हैं। आप ये सरकार को नहीं, यू कैन इवन थ्रेटन द वर्ल्ड बिकॉज वी आर डेमोक्रेसी।
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we are a wonderful democracy, and that is why journalists are put in jail for years.
जर्नलिस्ट को ये पता नहीं चलेगा, और आजकल तो जर्नलिस्ट आर आल्सो कंडीशन माइंड। देयर इज मीडिया, देयर इज मोदी मीडिया, एंड देयर इज गोदी मीडिया। So which media one belongs to, one has to see. तो नजदीक के भविष्य में मुझे तो कोई आसार नहीं दिखते इसको। अच्छा चलो उससे अदर साइड चले जाए। डू यू फोरसी दिस सिचुएशन worsening, deteriorating, and if yes, how soon?
I do not see a drastic improvement of the situation anytime soon. Let's put it this way. Because the stance has so far being hardened one. This is
But
also infuriating.
what could be the last straw on the camel's neck?
Well, that would need a crystal to gaze in and decipher, sir. But
So you don't foresee some catastrophe in the waiting
no,
to
I do
happen?
not.
Or
I do not. Right now, I do not foresee any catastrophe. I do not foresee that because one, army has been doing a fantastic job there, and our defense, all said and done, they are one of the most professional team that is on ground. So they will contain it. They will contain it, and they'll have to contain it. So I do not see a catastrophe. Yes, but I do see it simmering. One, two, I see its fallout across the border. And three, which is all the more dangerous, is a religious consolidation. If that happens, is going to be bad.
how would you see these things which are developing in the Northern Eastern Theatre as something where instead of your objectives which will be entirely different, it start confrontation with the Christianity? Or you feel it has already started?
Could you just repeat that?
I was trying to tell you that whatever is happening today, would you, looking to more than 100 churches are burned, would you feel that someday this might emerge as a major kind of a action against the Christianity? And then what would be its global reaction?
See, I found this to be very interesting. When the trouble initially started, the internet was flooded with how the Hindu Meiteis are being slaughtered and killed and victimized by the Christian cookies. The right wing went all out with all the propaganda. But as gradually the West picked it up, the Christian countries started getting into this, that propaganda subsided slowly. And yesterday, the International Working President of Vishwa Hindu Parishad was minced no words in saying that the crisis there is purely an ethnic thing and it has got nothing to do with religion. So I do not foresee the right wing in India openly taking on the churches. There will be sporadic incidents as and when they would get a chance to show off their machismo, but that will be small scale in the rest of the country. As far as Northeast is concerned, I repeat, as I had said it time and again, this is not a religious strife. This is not. This has never been. It's only that the religion people have tried to exploit religion. Meiteis cried votes, calling themselves Hindu, and it suited them. But this the issue there has never been religious. Churches were burnt because they were cookie properties. If the temples were broken, they were broken because they were Meitei properties. But it's because of a particular religion? No, that hasn't happened. Not so far.
So it may not get exaggerated to that extent.
It is being exaggerated in media, yes. It is being portrayed differently, and that is the most dangerous part. That is dangerous for India because that our
You,
image is getting a battering outside. Our image is
right.
secular is getting a massive battering, which shouldn't have happened in the first place. But when it
True.
started, it suited everybody, keeping mind the 2024 election, and nobody said a word about it. And now, when it is blown out of proportion, everybody is going out and decrying it. But now the house is already on fire.
No, what I was telling you was different. How much substance you see? There were rumors. I say rumors because officially I don't think it was announced that Pope was to visit India. And there are now stories in circulation that he has called off his visit. What is the substance in this? Where the real situation lies?
See, India's image in the Christian world has certainly taken a major beating with this. We have seen Christian lobby in the United States decrying the violence. We have seen European Union decrying it. We have seen people across the globe decrying it, specifically talking about the churches, right? So when it was not a religious issue, it was forcefully turned that way. I mean, there are enough evidences to prove that this was not a religious thing. But then, well, had to milk it in the initial phase, so we did, and now we'll have to pay the price for it. Of
But
course,
you think that by sort of, and I won't sort of mind using the word, that by messing up with this whole affair, we are becoming more open and vulnerable for criticism to the outside world.
most certainly, there's no doubt about it. It has been we have handled it very very badly, and we have not so far done anything that commands any kind of appreciation. I'm sorry. And if this is how it goes on, our image is also to get all the more battering than it already has.
In that event, what you expect as a reaction from the Christianity dominated world.
See, if you look at that region, it's a very interesting region. There's a very big chunk of population, if not the majority, who are Christian in Arunachal Pradesh. Come down to Nagaland, it's again a Christian state. Kukis, Nagas who are in Manipur, who form the minority, about 40%, are Christian. Then go down to Mizoram, that's again a Christian state. Part of North Tripura, where Kukis have settled, have become Christian. Meghalaya is a Christian state. So the only state that is not Christian is Assam. That's number one. And if Manipur is to be bifurcated, we will have another Christian state. Now,
You think Manipur has got into that zone with somebody demanding a separate nation, which is Kuki land?
of course, that has started long back. And that is what has escalated the whole trouble, because even Zoramthanga said that the state needs to be divided, and the Kukis are asking for a separate administration, and Manipuris have already said that they'll defend their state with the last drop of their blood. So that is definitely there. So all that I was trying to bring together is that this is a situation where in Southeast Asia, then you look at the Chin province in Myanmar, where about 60% is this Dzogchen Kuki tribes, and they are Christian. So you suddenly find church in a very domineering position in Southeast Asia. And this is one of the very few areas in the entire world where church is actually actively involved in politics and enjoys political power. So this is somewhere,
The situation seems to be very frightening, because on one hand there is already demand for a separate state, state means nation, on the of the cookies. On the other hand, there is present dilly-dallying, nothing clear. And third side, this is an ideal situation for our neighbors to plant their moles and conveniently put us under a microscope. I don't use word telescope. The telescope is used from a distance. Microscope is something which you are
well,
looking at the very
this
close range.
I mean, there shouldn't be any illusion that the situation is volatile, scary, and threatening. And until and unless we wake up to it, deal with it, and deal with it with prudence, I think we are in for a very bloody time. And I am very consciously and responsibly using this phrase, a very sanguinous time ahead.
That is unfortunate, but my personal belief, again, it's my personal opinion, is that the governments of the day never had an intention to take a decision on this. So each one of them permitted it to linger and completed their terms. So they handed over to the next generation a problem which was a little more severe than what they inherited.
Sadly, that's the way it looks. Sadly, that's the way it looks, and I wish I had a better theory on this.
Fortunately, there is, except our very huge and powerful neighbor, there is no other foreign power which is getting interested into it.
That may not be exactly the case, because the kind of arms and ammunitions that are coming in, the kind of interests that are playing here, the geopolitics of this region is something very, very interesting. I mean, China, all said and done, has not been able to thoroughly penetrate into Myanmar. And keeping Myanmar disturbed serves the interest of the West to keep
It's
China
not
off
that.
here.
It's not that. Right. What I was thinking was, I was wondering within myself that on one hand we are talking about larger blocks for cooperation for each other's prosperity, and within those blocks, be it Ukraine, be it Sudan, be it Bangladesh, be it Manipur, be it our northeastern, pocket like mm, Pakistan. So within them, these things are slowly getting erupted, and maybe like these nations got connected with each other. They might also someday get connected with each other.
See, I would at this juncture I would focus on the Southeast Asia, and all that I am seeing is that the more disturbed this area is, the more difficult it becomes for China to access Bay of Bengal and therefore Indian Ocean. So, and that serves American interests. It serves the interests of the West, and I dare say, to some extent, India's an interest as well. But in the process, that the price that people of this region are paying is way too high, because these are century-old issues that are going on and with no resolution in sight. And at some point or the other, they'll have to be resolved, or they'll have to be confronted. We haven't done anything so far.
But
And
what
sadly,
will you do? Permit it to taper off, or sort of pardon them and keep them in isolation? What is the remedy of it?
so the isolation has happened, and I will never deny it that the isolation has happened, and we haven't done enough to mainstreamize them. That's one. Second, the policy of, I mean, the range of isolationist measures that were continued. I mean, Manipur was given ILP in, I think, in 2016 or 2019. Eastern
This
Bengal.
block, this
Eastern,
block has always remained a problem area.
I mean, Eastern Bengal Frontier Act is an act of 1874, and ILP used to be issued. Was institute to protect Queen's subjects going to the tribal land. So Mizoram, Nagaland, and Arunachal which were not really Queen's land, where you needed an ILP. Why did Manipur need it? Just to keep Mr. Virendra Singh in power, that this was given. And in the process, they isolated the state.
Viren Singh is a limit. He could have succeeded as a better stage artist rather than the chief minister. So,
Well,
Viren Singh I
but he
purposely
was the
not
chief,
mentioned.
he was the chief minister, and that is and here was the government of the ruling dispensation, and that's just to keep it in power. ILP was given to Manipur, and if this was done, I mean, in 2016 or 2019, ILP ILP had there
Maybe
was no reason why ILP should be given to Manipur.
don't you think it is how the Hemant Biswa Sarma wanted?
I mean, isolating Manipur, what did it achieve?
No, nothing.
When you, I mean, we had a sixth schedule to the constitution that is being so rampantly misused in that part of the country.
To
Now,
my
what has
limited understanding, this is a struggle between hilly community and those who are settled in valley or plains. And then, over a period of time, some seeds of discontent planted into them resulted into the present day rivalry, rivalry, and that rivalry they want to encash for the Lok Sabha election. This seems to be the real reason.
see? I would go a little step further that conflict has always been there in that part of the country. I mean, in Manipur, the Nagas and the Kukis fought. Metis stood by. Now the Metis and Kukis are fighting. Nagas are standing by. And all these were equally bloody, equally sanguinous, equally riotous, equally genocidal. So these were always there. And they were, and you are so true when you were saying this, but now there seems to be some kind of a milking of the situation. And that is sad and dangerous all at the same time.
And it will be more structured scuffle.
Well, I'm afraid that the narrative, controlling the narrative there is beyond the establishments.
So I agree with you.
Because the narrative is controlled by the actual players there.
Very good.
How else would you, I mean, how else would somebody think of women handing over other women to men and say rape them and kill them? This is not something that one can sit in Delhi, sit in Delhi and plan it out. You have to be there. You have to be as fierce and as well. I do not really have the words for that, but you have to be that kind of a person to do
I
that.
can understand your feelings. So
So
thank you, Durjati bhai, for this
you,
very nice discussion and the kind of knowledge that you brought in with it.
it's an
Hope,
absolute pleasure every time,
hope
like
sooner,
always.
sooner than the later you visit that area once again and have a first-hand account of what is happening. If it is safe to do that. If it is
Well,
not safe to do that, we can always depend on the satellite
let's
views.
hope, we
But
get to
we'll,
visit that
we'll, we'll, we'll keep
beautiful part
talking
of
on
the land.
we'll
Let's
keep
hope we get
talking
to
on this
visit that
issue.
beautiful part
Right.
of the land soon.
Ji.
Thank you.
So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, and
Thank you.
thank you so much, our viewers also. हमारी टीम का भी शुक्रिया मिलेंगे कल एक नए विषय के साथ नई कदम के साथ और नई चर्चा के साथ तब तक के लिए मैं आपका दोस्त डॉक्टर जयनारायण व्यास इस चर्चा को विराम तक ले जाता हूँ आप साथ जुड़े इसलिए आप सबका धन्यवाद शुभ रात्रि